Hi all, it's Paul, and let's look at junk food and let's see how we can swap out junk food in our diet, as a lot of us don't even realise what we're eating and if it's good for us or bad for us. We just go by what the advertisements usually tell us, and a lot of that can be lies. So let's look at junk food. What is junk food? Junk food is ultra processed food, and that is food that has been altered so it has a better texture, a better flavour, better taste and a better shelf life. And that's all due to the food manufacturing companies, because their number one goal is to get you to buy more of the food and to get it to last on the shelves for a longer time. The longer it lasts on the shelves, the more money they can make, and of course they want you to come back and buy it. So they add a lot of additives, flavourings, etc. to it, so you will come back and you'll purchase more. Now, when we're looking at what they actually put into the food, most people wouldn't realise half the products, and a lot of people even in the food industry haven't heard of half the products, because the food manufacturing use a lot of unique products. Obviously there's a lot of salt and sugar, but there's flavourings, preservatives, oxidizers, stabilizers, enhancers, caking agents, the list goes on, and it's all to enhance the flavour of the food and to create a better shelf life. So you need to be reading the food labels, make yourself aware of actually what is in your diet and what is in the food. And a lot of these things you won't have heard of. You'd have to go on the internet to find out about them, because there's so many different products that they're using at the moment, so just making yourself aware of it is key. Shelf life. Well, shelf life of food is very important. If you're a food producer, the longer you can keep that food fresh or edible, the longer you can make money, because it can stay on the shelf for longer, you can produce more of it, and most food producers have to produce quantity rather than quality, because their margins are very small on what they actually sell, because they have to sell it to a middleman or a shop or a wholesaler, then that goes to a smaller shop, and then that goes to you, and everyone has to make profit along the way. So the actual margins in these companies are very small, and that's why they want to mass produce it and make sure that it can stay on the shelf for a much longer time. Junk food is convenient food, and it's designed that way. It's designed to be quick, easy, an easy package that you can just put straight in the oven. You don't have any washing up afterwards, you don't have any preparing, and that's one of their selling points on the junk food, because it's quick and easy. So you need to put a bit more effort if you're looking at healthy food. Of course you're going to have to prepare it and cook it, but the benefits are much better. It's not just the food we have to look at, it's also the drinks we consume, as an awful lot of drinks are loaded with sugar, and sugar would be the number big additive into most of these. They've way more sugar than what they need. Some of these colas and all are up to a third of sugar. A can of Red Bull has 8 spoons of sugar, a big can of Monster has 15 spoons of sugar, and then you've all your alcoholic drinks as well, have a lot of sugar in them. So you need to be aware of what you're drinking. You're better off getting rid of all those colas, fizzy drinks, all of them out of your diet. Use some squashes, plenty of water, because being hydrated is a big key to staying away from the junk food, because you don't get cravings and you won't feel as hungry if you're hydrated. So drink plenty of water, put some lemon, some fresh orange, some fresh lime, something like that into your water, and try and consume your average water, which is about 8 pints a day. And people think that's an awful lot, but it's not. Once you start drinking water and you're doing it daily, you'll find you can drink 8 pints quite easily throughout the day. You will have to run to the loo a few more times, but it's well worth it, because you're more hydrated and your body needs water to function properly. Healthy options. There's lots of healthy options out there. You just have to look for them and go find what you like. You're going to have to try different things, taste different things, see if you like them or not, because getting away from the sweet food and the junk food, it's not easy. There is alternatives you have to look for, and you're going to have to try out all these different things. But you can start with nuts. When I started getting off the junk food, I used to never eat nuts, and now I love them. I would eat nuts now over sweets most of the time. I wouldn't say all of the time, but I would most of the time. And then I buy berries, I have some cheese, I have some cold meats in the fridge, I have fresh apples, some apricots, things like that. You need to look for the alternatives to stay away from the sweet food. You probably will want something to nibble on later in the day, and if you don't have the junk food in the house or those items in the house, you won't be able to eat them. Getting off the junk food, no, it's not easy. It's a lifestyle change and it's a lifestyle choice, and you really have to work at it. Nothing comes easy really in life. If you want to change, especially the way you've been eating, because you've built up bad habits over years. It didn't come quickly, and you slowly got into these habits where you're eating this junk food at certain times, and you want to break those habits. So the number one rule that I always use is I don't have the food in the house. If I have it in the house, you have the temptation to eat it. If you don't have it there, well, you just can't eat it, especially later at night, if that's when a lot of people do eat junk food. I used to work nights, and I'd come home and I wouldn't be going to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be nibbling stuff at midnight. And I don't do that anymore now. My routine has changed, and I don't eat late at night anymore. But that's the one thing: try not to eat too late before you go to bed. Give yourself 2 or 3 hours break before you go to bed after eating, and cut out the nibbling later at night. Don't be hard on yourself. It takes time to change. It takes time to build up the discipline and to do it on the days you don't want to, and you'll be going into shops and you'll be looking at some of them nice treats and you're going, oh, I'd love one of them. But it takes time to build up that discipline and break those bad habits. But after a while you can just walk by those items in a shop without even thinking about it. And sometimes now I'll just even walk by them anyway, just to say, all right, well, I'm not having you today. And that just all takes time. So don't be hard on yourself. Take day by day and then bring it to week by week. But I recommend writing out a goal, setting out a plan, and when you can follow your goal and your plan, then you will achieve what you want. But the junk food is everywhere. It's so easy to get your hands on it. It's in nearly every shop you go into, and it's all about making those choices and saying no. So become good at saying no and stay off the junk food. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.